All right. Well, we're about 39 people right now here on Zoom and few on Facebook as well. We're probably going to hit about anywhere from 80 to 100 people in and out. But first and foremost, I want to wish everybody a happy 2024. This is going to be your year. It's going to be our year. We're going to be really seeing some amazing stuff coming up on all fronts when it comes to marketing, marketing automation, marketing, and AI in general. It's been an amazing year, or 2023 has been amazing, very transformational for a lot of us. And I want to wish you individually happy New Year. I also want to thank you for attending these meetups. It means a lot to us and to me personally that you're taking the time to come in, log in, watch, and even maybe afterwards download those or kind of put them on 2x and watch them at your own convenience. So I want to give a shout out for everybody here. I have Alessio, welcome, Andre. And by the way, feel free to drop in your LinkedIn information. We can definitely connect with you after, introduce yourself. This is a great way to kind of stay in touch. But this is a very unique kind of small group. I like it intimate this way because I love to hear your questions along the way. So Alessio, Andre, Angie, Blaine, Brian, Chaplin as well. Welcome, guys. I have Chris, Saihan, Dave Smith, Dave VB. I have Ihab and Eric. I know you guys are dropping in from all around the world, which is also pretty exciting. VBOUT has become an international product, starting from just the US market to everywhere. So that's big. I got Esteban as well, Gio Francese. I have Hope, Locke, Jacob, Jim Aldrich, John Drinkwater. Cheers to you, John, for attending every single meetup and not missing one for the past almost couple of years now, if not more. And thank you for your contribution. I have Pan with us in the house, Cassandra, Kazim, Kyle, Letitia, Martin, Leland Best. Hello, Leland. We have Martin Broadhurst. Welcome again, Martin. Marvin, Mike, Molly G, Mona Lisa, Motiol, Nick, Othaman, Omaru. You have Pierce, Robert, Kirchner, and Robert Matson as well. You have Syed, welcome. Thomas Clarks, Timmy, Tony, Rockcliffe. So 48 and increasing. If I miss anybody who's coming in, please pardon me, but welcome. And again, thank you so much for giving us your time. Quick introduction. We've been doing these in VBOUT since almost 10 years. We've grown the community to about 20,000 members strong. And these are engaged members who read our content, attend those meetings, they download, and they watch. I'm really proud to have gotten to this point. We do these on a monthly basis, 10 times out of the year, and we share the latest when it comes to marketing technologies, trends, topics that you need to know about. And a lot of the times when we talk about a topic, it's something that we had to deeply learn ourselves in VBOUT as a marketing technology company. So we're bringing our perspective to it, not just from a theoretical, but also from actual technology build and application. Not to mention, we work with about 5,000 businesses on the platform. So we can see firsthand how things are being used, which type of campaigns are successful and not successful. So with that being said, welcome to our community, and we hope to grow with you this year. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, it's where really we put most of our announcements and our releases. We even have other meetings that we do for partners and VBOUT, I would say, user base. If you want to know about releases and stuff like that, that's the first place that we announce them. So feel free to join our community. It's where we talk a lot about VBOUT related things, marketing in general, etc. I have George with me today who'll be assisting. So he'll be dropping in the chat a lot of these URLs. This way, you can either follow, subscribe, or just engage with us. Ultimately, that's what we want, is we want you to find value through these meetups. And quite frankly, this has been my motto for the past 10 years doing meetups, is I aim to teach you at least one new thing, to maybe meet one new person, and perhaps connect one of you to somebody else they find value. These are the three things that I always strived and aimed for by doing these meetups. So I hope to achieve that today as well. So typically we do the intro, which I'm already doing. I'll go into the presentation, and throughout the presentation, I'll be pausing for questions. You can ask them here, or you can ask them on the live chat. This is where George will help me moderate. If it's a technical question about VBOUT, it's probably not the right event to do it, even though I would love to answer you. I would rather leave them towards the end, or you can direct them to our support team. They could answer you definitely a lot more efficiently than I would. So let's keep this kind of an open conversation. You can drop in your ideas if you want to add to what I'm about to share with you, or you can just pause me and ask questions. Now, if you don't know me and it's your first time attending, welcome. My name is Richard, and my company is VBOUT.com. We're actually a marketing platform. I'm going to skip the video, and most of you probably know what we do. But at core, we created a technology that has 14 different tools. So we became almost like a platform for marketers. If you want to create landing pages and forms and pop-ups to generate leads, you can get those tools within the platform to do so. If you want to capture those leads, nurture them, and turn them into customers, we have powerful automations to do that. And then for retaining clients, we have added a lot of tools to do lead scoring, email marketing, social media. So if you think about all the tools that you need at your fingertips as a marketer, you have 14 different products at your disposal. You can use them together or independently. And really excited about a new feature we're launching, hopefully this month, fingers crossed, is an AI chatbot assistant, which is going to be super powerful. If you stick with us to the end, I can share with you how you can get your hands on this technology once we launch it. And it's definitely going to change a lot of things we're going to be doing this year when it comes to communicating with clients using AI. So that's VBOUT in a nutshell. We have about 14 tools for marketers, reseller ready. It integrates really well with third party, and many of you who use the product can drop us a thumbs up. You probably have witnessed the power of what you can do using the platform. So thanks again. If you'd like to set up a call with our kind of success manager to see if VBOUT is the right fit for you, George will link in the chat our calendar, and you can speak to somebody and determine if VBOUT is a good fit. So I have to do this. There's no pressure. You don't have to be a VBOUT customer to be attending our meetups. I actually welcome everybody regardless. All right, George, how are we doing? Just a quick mic check here to see if you can hear me okay.
Yes, Richard, I can hear you. Everything is okay.
Awesome. Thank you. And again, thanks everybody who joined us. I know we're at about 54 here. George, keep an eye on those Facebook comments if you have any coming in, as I have my Facebook closed right now. Awesome. All right, so let's get started, you guys. We're going to talk about ways to use AI in chatbot marketing. And this presentation, three topics: how you can use AI chatbots or chat assistants, some people call it, in your marketing or even in your general strategy. Second, what is the future of AI chatbots for this year? And finally, some of the ethical issues that you might encounter using chatbots. So these are the three main topics we'll be covering today during this presentation. So I'll start by sharing the first use case, which we are actually the first adopters to this, is automating customer support. Now, as a company, the first thing you should be focused on, along with your product and service, is your customer support. Nobody wants crappy customer support, period. But if you're working at scale and you have thousands of clients, sometimes offloading 10% of these to an AI bot that understands your knowledge base and can easily kind of answer very basic questions can literally save you thousands of dollars and a lot of human interactions. Not to say that you're going to completely shut down human chat support, but at least making an option for those who want to use it. Now, how does this work? Generally, AI chatbots can provide an instant answer to your questions. You don't have to wait a lot for somebody to answer you, figure out the response, and look into their own knowledge base if they're customer support. And it could be an FAQ, right? Which is how a lot of companies build their chat and their support is they have a list of Q&As, they train their agents on it, and then the agents will respond according to that Q&A. That's kind of a first level of support, and chatbots can easily replace that nowadays. The other power of automating your customer support using AI chatbots is by enabling this 24/7, any given time, in any different language, and the support can be instant. So the multilingual support wasn't really a thing until recently, and that could be a little bit more accurate than somebody just simply using a Google Chat Translate. You can also improve customer satisfaction by providing consistent and accurate responses, because when the model is trained on your own knowledge base, that means that the answers will be pretty much the same every single time. Less room for grammatical error, which, believe it or not, we look at this deeply, is how many grammatical errors do our unit make. And we talk a lot about it. You have to use Grammarly and a few other things. You cannot respond fast. So there's a whole training on just maintaining proper grammar in your response. With AI chatbot support, you can actually rely on it to have a lot less mistakes. And the beauty about this is you don't need a lot of training per se when it comes to building an AI chatbot that answers your customer support. We've worked with companies that literally just create 2 Word documents, 2 pages, and they upload it to the model. The model will learn. With, as you know, ChatGPT and the like, you can train them on documents, and they will start answering directly from your document that you created. So any one of us here has their own knowledge, their own way of doing business. You've probably have gathered thousands of your clients' questions over the years. It's really smart to put them in Word documents and train the model on this. So it's a very simple way to create a bot that could be embedded on your site and so on that answers these questions. So this is the first use case, is the ability to automate customer support with AI chatbot, and a lot of companies have adopted this. Now in VBOUT, we implemented this early last year, and we've seen a decline in human-to-human tickets by 14%. And we have probably approximately, I forgot the numbers, maybe 1,000 and change tickets that come in on a monthly basis, and those tickets had dropped by 14% with the ratio of new clients that onboarded the system. So that's huge for us. So that being said, I can literally vouch to you that deploying AI chatbot next to your human support will be beneficial to your company. So that's the first use case. Any questions on this? Anybody would like to add to it? I'm happy to read off your feedback.
Yeah, Richard, John is asking a great question. If we could add that chatbot to customers' website, which I think we have it for agencies, right?
Yep. So the chatbot we're about to release, you will be able to train the model. You simply have an interface. We're going to provide it to you. You will upload your own docs. You can connect your own RSS feed, and then we will give you a code. You can embed that on your website or on your VBOUT landing pages, and you can literally just have it be sitting there. Okay. Now, if you're looking for a dashboard type support, we already have that feature, and I'm gonna have to offset this to George to send you the link, as it's in our knowledge base and it's ready. Okay. George, perhaps you can get back to John on this.
Yes, of course.
Awesome. The second use case, which many of you might not know, is you can actually train ChatGPT and the likes. I'm going to use ChatGPT to abbreviate. I know there are lots of new models coming up. You have Google, they have their own AI libraries. You have Amazon, they came up with their own libraries for AI as well. You have Anthropic, you have Mistral AI, and many, many others. But I'm just going to summarize these under ChatGPT to make it easy for everybody. But if you are a technology provider or even a service provider and you created your own API endpoints, you can train the models on what those API endpoints will do. For example, VBOUT, we have an API that lets you create an email campaign. We trained ChatGPT on this endpoint. We told ChatGPT, this endpoint means create email campaign, and a little more description for that. We created some sort of an authentication, and then we allowed the chatbot itself to communicate directly via the API. Now, what does that mean? Is obviously you can create an authentication process for security reasons because not everybody can connect to your API and execute things. But let's say you have a product that people click and fill out forms and do all these cool things with the UI. You can now change your entire user experience to go and become via chat. By identifying those endpoints, pushing them to the learning model, adding the authentication layer, and then people can literally just type in the command to interact with you, okay? In this particular case on the right, I parsed a simple request to write an email for the new year. The bot was smart enough because I understood the API endpoint. It asked me for what's missing from my prompt in order for it to execute that prompt. And you'll be able to do this as well with your own product if you have those API endpoints. So it's turning the traditional UI, platform UI, into ChatGPT-like interaction. And trust me, there's one thing that we've noticed a lot is that shift in people interacting with ChatGPT or Meta's Hugging Face or others. They're getting used so much into like the typing a question and expecting an answer that shift to a new way of interacting with your product is something you should be on the lookout for. So the new thing that we're going to be launching, and I'll tell you about at the end, is going to allow you to train the model on your APIs and launch a chatbot that execute commands and prompts for you, okay? So that's the second use case. We've seen more companies started to look into this because it's transformational. It's a new way to engage with a product itself. All right, so what do we got here? I have some questions as well. Let's see, George. How is everything on Facebook, by the way?
It's great so far.
Cool. So let me read some of the questions I have. Omar was asking, if I have many landing pages on VBOUT with different offers, can I assign to each page different chatbots? So Omar, will you be able to create different chatbots and assign them to different landing pages once the product is out? That's the key, is you can create as many chatbots as you want, train them on different data sets for yourself or for your different clients if you're an agency, and deploy them on different channels if you'd like, okay? So that's absolutely possible. So the AI chatbot that we're building is primarily going to be using OpenAI's APIs. Obviously, nobody's going to be rebuilding what's already very good, but it's going to be trained on your own model. The way you're going to build those using drag and drop is going to be in VBOUT. So you probably need your own API key from OpenAI, so the cost will be on you. We haven't figured out that part yet, but most likely you'll just pay the basic minimum API fee, or we'll have some monthly associated with it as well. Awesome. And by the way, this feature is not out yet. This is coming soon. I wanted to kind of put it out there because my team has been working on this for literally the entire of last year, and we're very close. So excited.
Richard, so you answered Robert, or he's asking, is the chatbot technology owned by VBOUT or third-party platform? I don't know if
I did. It's using OpenAI's but the chatbot is our own, and the way you build it is our own. Okay.
Okay. And John is also asking about the social media. How is it going with the scheduler for social media? Do you have any AI or code in front to help build the content?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that in my slides, so I'll skip that question. Leland's asking if I have if you can add a third-party form to our landing pages. You should, as long as you get an HTML code, you can add it to our landing pages, no problem. Okay. Cool. So finally, with the APIs integrating into chatbots, you can leverage the AI model to have a personalized and engaging product experiences. All right. And now we'll talk about AI-enabled calendar booking. This is actually pretty big and very important because it allows you to kind of slowly get the answers to your interested leads and eventually drive them to book the time with you. So it's literally as having an assistant who's doing, let's say, an outbound calling, asking somebody if they're interested, and then giving them time availability. And that's going to be a key in your addition for next year. If you provide this sort of flow in your sales process, which is booking you directly from your Calendly or other, is for a chatbot to know your availability and to be able to also provide options for the person engaging with the bot and to book directly on your calendar, ideally with a Zoom link associated with it. So these are we call them AI-enabled calendar bookings that allows to set up scheduling and calendar booking automatically. It can streamline lead generation and your conversion effort, which is a lot more efficient than having somebody go between pages to get to a point where they could actually book you. It's one experience, just very streamlined. It can eliminate the back and forth, which is, if you know, I sometimes have to send my availability. They're gonna tell me, no, I don't like this time. Or I can send them the link to Calendly. But this is kind of eliminating some of that friction. And yeah, so that's in terms of the AI chatbots for booking. Now, the beauty about VBOUT is that we have our own integrated calendar booking that could replace Calendly. And the chatbot itself will be able to connect to your calendar and will be able to provide availability and book directly to the calendar. So that's going to be also part of the bot itself to allow you to create that behavior for AI-enabled calendar bookings. Okay. So that's for AI-enabled calendar bookings. I'm wondering if any of you are already using some sort of an automated bot that books directly on their Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar. Drop us in the chat if you are. I would love to hear from you as well. All right, so I have a few questions. Ahab is asking, are we using VoiceFlow? We are not Ahab. We're actually building this natively in VBOUT. The only thing we were leveraging is going to be OpenAI's APIs. Okay. Umaru is asking if he has different landing pages with offer, can we do different chatbots? I think I answered this. Yes, you can create different chatbots once we launch it. If the AI chatbot feature will be included or additional. So Robert, we haven't really gotten to the monetization part. We're going to see our cost for it. It might be something basic. If you're already on VBOUT, we're probably going to do announcements at the end of the month. And usually we give away those add-ons at no cost to you if you're attending and first adopters. But you might have some costs associated with OpenAI. Okay. That's going to be a third-party cost. But again, we haven't finalized that particular part. Okay. Everybody's going to have the option to install the add-on. And again, we haven't figured out the how much part yet. It most likely will be something minimal. If you attend our monthly partner meetings, we usually give away a lot of these add-ons anyways. So make sure to be on the lookout for our partner meeting when we announce it. Cool. Cool. Let's move on. I know some of you are putting in comments, and thank you for that. We'll be answering a lot more after. Now, the third application, or at this point, I think it's the fourth, we have e-commerce and inquiring about products and services. I really love this because even though I like browsing websites and getting to the end product, but it's a lot easier if we can just ask a bot a question to get the recommendations that we want and, purchase them directly from the chatbot. So this facilitates the browsing experience, especially if you're purchasing something. You actually, even though you're communicating with the bot, there's some sort of a experience that you're used to at a store where you have somebody communicating with you versus you browsing anonymously with nobody on the other side. And obviously, because the models can be trained to get a little bit better at suggesting things, the product recommendation can get better through the bot itself. It can assist the clients to decide on which products to buy. And of course, you can either transact right there from the bot if the bot is advanced, or you can maybe offset them and send them to like a cart with the product added directly. Very great application for e-commerce, in my opinion. You can also leverage those bots to create abandoned carts. So if you already have abandoned carts and client hasn't completed a purchase, maybe the chatbot can remind them, hey, you have something that you haven't checked out. Would you like to use this coupon? And ultimately that boosts conversion. Just like the old-fashioned way of doing abandoned cart follow-up emails, the chatbot can be as effective. And I'll wait for the metrics on this once we deploy it for 6 months. So with that being said, e-commerce chatbots that revolves around your store and your product feed is going to be another application for bots this upcoming year. Okay, cool. So I know many of you have been testing this, so thank you, Tony. Tony's testing Chatbase, Zapier, Custom GPT, Botsonic, and others. I know, Tony, there could be so many of these working together or independently. I would love to kind of interact with something that you've bought or built or purchased or whatever. Just drop us in the chat. I would give you some feedback on that too. Cool. George, did I miss any other questions on Facebook?
No, Richard, it's fun.
Awesome. All right. More applications is the ability for you, if you have a larger organization, to automate employees' interaction, HR, and I would say onboarding. And I know this is something minor, but it's a part of every single company. And we've already seen a lot of cases where companies have offsetted some of this to a chatbot that one can provide employees information about the company to help them kind of learn the culture, guide them to the resources. It could also retrieve data from the platform, like off days and a particular person's allowance for, let's say, vacations and sick days and so on, and even file for very basic HR matters. Okay. If you need an extra day off, if you want some sort of a recommendation letter. We've seen companies actually implement this extensively because they have a decent amount of workforce. And honestly, it's really powerful. There were so many tools that you can do this through, obviously, like SaaS platforms, but they're turning this entire experience into like an HR chatbot, if you want to call it. And I wanted to just bring it to your attention here because you're going to be seeing a lot of these if you're working for companies. But if you do own one yourself, just try to think about creating an internal knowledge base for you and your employees and maybe deploy it on a dedicated page where they could interact with those types of information. Okay. Anybody has been interacting with an employee or internal company AI bot? I'm just wondering. That's an interesting area for us. Thank you, Tony, for sharing the link. I'll definitely check it out. But yes, this is one use case for using bots to fill out HR internal company processes. All right, a couple more as well on the types of different AI chatbots we'll be seeing this year. Lead generation is huge. And even though lead generation has already existed with AI bots or chatbots, but they were always limited to, very basic sales-driven conversation. Now, with the ability to integrate different data sources like your knowledge base, company culture, and even train the bot on your own sales team's mentality and the way they close deals, you can make the chatbot have that kind of character. And usually the lead generation process, involves some sort of progressive question asking and answers, right? Which, ask very basic questions. What are you interested in? I'm interested in this. Sure, are you also interested in that? And then it can slowly guide them through a part where ultimately it can either send them the calendar to book directly or a place where they can make a purchase or fill out a consultation form or even just ask for their first name, last name, and email through the chat and add it to your lead generation or CRM. So it progressively kind of identify the person, the preferences, their history, engaging with you, and ultimately guiding them to fill out the information. So the ability to kind of integrate this, and I know MongoDB is obviously a popular company, which is document-oriented database. Their chatbot powered by Drift. So Drift is a chatbot company. They were able to increase new leads by 70% in a very short period of time. Now, those bots were powered by basic specialized AI, but with the ability to use ChatGPT and its capacity, right, at scale, you can give it a little bit more character per se, okay? Cool. Anybody would like to add to this for the lead generation and qualification bots? I see a few questions here.
Yeah, in the Q&A section.
Yeah, so technically, ideally, I'm gonna answer Ihab soon as well. That's probably one of the things. Is asking if the bot integrates with messengers. I'll come back to that. If you can personalize the chatbot with VBOUT, possibly yes, Omaru. That's something that we also going to provide if we can link the person information, or it could be in phase 2 of the release. So the chatbot can know and have a lot of more contacts on the lead. And that will be the power of using it within the context of VBOUT versus individually, because VBOUT collects a lot of details on your leads. You can personalize that chatbot experience as well. That's a great question, Omaru. Dave, yes, we'll be looking for early adopters, either in the context within VBOUT or separately out of VBOUT, and I'm going to give access at the end to where you can sign up. So we'll send you the first invite as well. If we can, Michael's asking if we can see the chats and edit the replies to train the bot. We're going to have that in phase 2, where you can see every single interaction and you can actually jump in and answer yourself if need be. In the beginning phase is going to be fully automated with some screens to see what's going on, of course. But yeah. All right, last but not least, or actually I have a couple more. One is for customer feedback and NPS score. And I know this has been already there where you have a bot asking for the customer experience, but now it can be a little bit more kind of guided through deeper and more intelligent questions, and you could actually understand more context and emotions. So you can rely or offload your NPS to an AI bot versus the traditional bot to ultimately kind of humanize the NPS score collection and how happy are people engaging with your product. We might be trying this ourselves next year. We'll see how we're gonna connect it to our own NPS, which we currently use. Okay. And then we have AI browser extension bots. This is more of a utility than front-facing with your customers. And I wanted to include this because I know AI browser extensions can change the way that you work and it can make you 10 times more efficient. We use Harpa, which has been really improving over time. It connects with OpenAI if you have an account. So it's actually fetching information from there. But literally, it sits in your browser as a Chrome extension. And every time you're browsing the web, you can ask that bot that shows up on the right, utility bot, to give you some summary of the page, to rewrite the page, and even some of these bots, like Harpa, for example, that allows you to create automation that automate things on the particular page you're on or other as well. So these AI bots that sit in your browser as a utility are going to help you a lot be more efficient the upcoming year. So if you haven't used any, I highly recommend you install it, engage with it. I promise you, you'll be impressed. So Harpa is the one we use, but there are a few others as well that are probably as good, if not better. Okay. George, any questions on Facebook?
No, Richard, on Facebook, it's fine, but Ginny said she was having audio problem. Not sure if it's from her side or ours.
Okay. I think it's probably from her side. Have you been able to hear me all good?
Yes, from my side, it's okay.
Cool. All right, so we got a couple of general questions. A lot of the features we release in VBOUT eventually will become part of our academy. Yes, we just don't update them as often because of the limited resources we have, but we do a lot of training videos and announcements and stuff like that. So ideally, if the chatbot connects with third party, is going to be great. Within the VBOUT platform, we're going to be allowing you to actually capture some of the stuff and send it out, probably in phase 2 as well. And you can automate parts of what happens next too, because it's going to be connected to our existing automation. So if you're collecting a lead through the bot itself, you can ultimately push it through an automation process that follows up with email and others. So there will be some form of automation as well. Okay. All right, so what is the future of AI on chatbots, AI chatbots in marketing to be specific? One, an enhanced natural language processing across the board, where things are just simply getting smarter. Smarter in many aspects because you can actually, or AI language models are now synthesizing voice. You can understand your voice and respond in voice. You can actually understand depth, height, and measurements a lot better. So these enhanced models are going to allow you to deploy these chatbots more intelligently. So technically, chatbots are going to be a lot more human-like, and they can process human language a lot faster. And you've probably heard a lot about how fast AI is progressing, particularly in the field of, from jumping from GPT-3 to 3.5 to 4 was a huge leap in terms of how many variables they could store. And the upcoming release 4.5 and even 5 are probably going to be like monumental and closer to general AI, as they call it. Then you have also another trend this year, which we'll be seeing, are AI avatars and voice assistants, which AI chatbots are going to be integrated into your direct assistants like Siri and Alexa, and Google as well. So you can speak back and forth via audio. I know that's small, but these are also a sort of a bot. The AI chat avatar that could actually even be your own face or somebody in your company that's communicating and typing at the same time. Okay. The technology is getting there a lot. It's a lot better now than it was last year, and it's even going to get better to be less robotic and less kind of, you know, shaky, or it might give you like a little bigger lips, um, unnatural movement to your eyes or your cheeks. So these small details are getting a lot better, and you're going to see a lot of the chatbots are going to be human facing as an option as well, so you can communicate the responses and could even listen to you directly. I know there are Synthesia and HeyGen and many others that where you already can create those AI avatars, but these are primarily applications on the website that's already kind of a video ingesting copy and content that you parsed versus directly from the chat itself. Okay. Now this humanizes a little bit the chat experience. Whereas if you're talking to a chat, people, even though they appreciate it, it's a bot, and they're gonna get to a point where like, I'm tired of speaking to a bot, and then you can interface that, give it a little bit more human, and I know they will still know it's AI trained, but ultimately it's a little bit kind of an upgrade of how you interact with the bot. Now, not to mention, with AI augmentation, and more, these AI models are going to be very good in recognizing faces, depth, emotions. So let's say you're going to be speaking to an AI and it's going to be looking at you, and you're looking at it, it'll probably be able to understand your facial expressions, your tonality, and accordingly, it can answer, right, with a specific tone as well. This is, I would say, 2025 expectations, but you're going to be seeing some companies launching prototypes for facial expressions and chat as well. Okay. And I'm only sharing this because 2 years ago, I couldn't imagine this is possible, to be able to communicate with something that understands your facial expressions and on the spot give you really good answers. And now it's so close that it's definitely worth mentioning. Cool. And here I included the Meta chatbots that they released last year, which they got some celebrities to kind of answer basic questions. Some of them were answering like beauty and care, and I forgot if they got Kyle Jenner, I think, Paris Hilton for fashion questions. You have Snoop Dogg for something with Dungeon Master questions. So you literally speak into it, and then they trained his face to answer you back with Snoop Dogg's voice as well. That's the future of AI chatbots in a nutshell here. Um, awesome, awesome. Let's go on. Thank you for the compliments, Chaplin. My hair is quite long, yes. All right. So when it comes to AI and VR, and this is an interesting area too, because big companies started to adopt it. It's a little bit more kind of advanced technology building. It's not easy to put together yet, but a lot of companies are providing chatbots um, that kind of interacts with you, and it's almost like a utility bot around, trying products. E-commerce have been deploying it. So for example, a chatbot can say, hey, by the way, would you like to try this particular t-shirts on you? You'd say yes. He snaps a picture, and then it matches you with that t-shirt, and you can see yourself, 360 sort of experience, or at least in about 3 different angles with that shirt. So that's what, augmented reality is going to be, or even virtual reality, which honestly, I'm not too confident about virtual reality, but augmented reality definitely coming soon. And the interaction with the bot is important, and be able to try your product, because I mean, nobody thought 4 years ago that you buy shoes online, or you buy a clothes or underwear online because you wanted to try them and feel the material and see if they're a good fit. And all of a sudden, after the pandemic, everybody started doing it, and doing returns. And people felt a little bit kind of disconnected from the product itself and the shopping experience. So that's bringing back some of that kind of engagement with the product. And there are lots of companies getting very well funded that are allowing this type of engagement. An example is Pond Skincare. I'm going to show you a quick video here that uses a little bit of an AI and AR experience to diagnose your skin. So this is their recent release. I'll go ahead and play that for you guys.
Hi, I'm Sal, your 24/7 skincare AI. I'm just a tap away, ready for a chat to solve your skin needs. Just start with a selfie. Ready? Now that I know your skin, here's your personalized routine with tips from the Pond's Institute and beauty experts. The Skin Index tracks your daily activity and environment to optimize your skincare. Together, we'll transform your skin. Download me now.
So as you can see, this was probably tapping into multiple data sources for the company. One, into their own general knowledge base of recommendations and other products. One, they created a utility with an API probably that connects to the bot that could take pictures and it could probably give some skincare recommendations accordingly, right? And then a third part, which is the ongoing tracker with some analytics, which is also connected to that same bot. So they did kind of the stacking of the different data sources and technologies to combine them into this one bot. And you'll see a lot of these as well with bigger companies. And I think there's actually an area for agencies, if you're an agency, to offer this service to your customers, given that you can build these somewhere. And hopefully within the VBOUT bot, you can achieve some of these as well. All right, and then you have cross-channel integration. This is important. I'm answering, I think, somebody asked this question where you can integrate the bot with different channels, not only on your website, but you can actually deploy it on your Instagram, on Facebook. You can also add it to your email. You can add it to WhatsApp and Telegram. So going multi-channel with the same exact bot, with the same consistent experience and the utility is going to be big. And we're probably going to be launching it as well to support these different channels, okay? So that going cross-channel with your AI chatbots or AI assistants is another trend for this year, and it should be definitely possible. I know many chatbots already do this, but now with the AI chatbots and be able to stack different data sources, is taking it another level. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally feel more comfortable using certain channels versus others when I'm asking for support. It might be easier for me to use Facebook or to use Instagram directly if I found the company there and I can trust it, right? There's this trust if I know the company has certain followers, they have a lot of posts, and boom, I send them a DM and now I'm engaging directly from there. Or imagine somebody on Facebook sending you a DM and then the bot is recommending some hours with your sales team that they could book directly as well for a live session. These are the type of things you'll be expecting as well from chatbots. So with VBOUT, if you're asking, some of you already DM'd, we're gonna be launching this on your website, on Facebook, WhatsApp. The second phase is going to be Instagram and SMS, and probably Telegram, and then we're gonna start building from there. Okay. Cool. All right, so that's for the cross channel. And sorry, I'm trying to toggle here questions. Anything you'd like to add for future trends? I'm happy to take your recommendations if anybody wants to add.
Thank you, Leland. That she's so glad to see you guys are staying ahead of the curve.
These are the things that are trending and people are actually using, and they produce amazing results. to automate some of those tasks, I mean, you become more efficient at doing business, be it for yourself or for your clients. So absolutely.
Richard, did you answer the recent questions in the Q&A section? Or you want me to read them for you?
I think I answered most of them. If we'll be able to see the chat history, you're gonna be able to do it on Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp and SMS. The website one is we're gonna have one unified inbox for all of these. Yes, and probably phase 2. So I answered all of them, George.
Okay, great. Even Abdul Kamali regarding the courses?
Yes, we'll eventually be updating the courses.
Okay, great.
All right. Cool. George, no questions on Facebook? We good? Doing good on time too, so we're
Yeah, I answered Eric. He was just asking about the browser-based extension, so I answered Sarpa.
cool. All right, let's talk about some of the ethical issues with chatbots, which always arise. I think we live in an age where now we put ethical and data privacy issues first. Not like back in the days, people used to build and then years later they ask questions. And now policies are more strict because they're building on top of other policies. So that being said, I'm going to share a few that we sort of synthesized, but you can certainly add to it. Some of the issues with chatbots is collecting data without much consent. Now we actually ask people questions and you have that little cookie banner and ask people what you want to activate and disable. Chatbots might have their own behavior and they might be able to collect a little more context and details. So thinking about the consent ahead is going to be important, and collecting data might require a very similar consent as you're doing with forms, especially if you're doing lead gen with those. So with that being said, just be on the lookout for these and to implement them within your flows or to see where you are. Obviously, some countries are more strict on these. How you can display that information. Okay. So, and make sure you communicate clearly, because it's all about communication when it comes to data collection, why you're collecting the data, and if they accept or they decline. Obviously, in some cases, if they decline, they immediately kind of ditch the experience, or you can provide an alternative experience if they do. Okay. There's also the worry about sensitive data over collection. Now, depending on the bot, and some of them might be integrated with third party and different products working together, some of these products might be asking for a lot more information and providing enrichment on top of it. So how does that factor into your privacy policy? How do you communicate that in your terms of services? And how you allow the clients to limit that is probably going to be obviously on you and the country that you're operating at. But there's going to be a chance where the bot that you're utilizing is collecting a lot more data than the client or the person is consenting to. Now, if you collect information, I guess, simply said, just collect what you need. If you don't need to collect personal details, browsing history, try to see if the bot itself will limit the data collection to just that. Okay. There's also the worry of lack of proper training for these bots. And I think this falls just like everything else. This is a still relatively new technology for everybody. As good as it is, there's a chance for hallucinations. There are chances that the data is not going to be understanding context very clearly, and it can give you or give back results that are not quite accurate. So make sure that the model is trained. Expect some issues, expect some answers that are going to be a little bit out of context, as long as they're not harmful. And just keep an eye on how those bots are behaving in the initial phases, at least. It's also good to check how often the model is updating itself, because there will be an update period. could be daily, it could be weekly, and some of these might allow you to set the training phase on those models. Now, of course, when you are creating those APIs or your documentation, make sure that you include enough details and representation of your culture and company, because ultimately, if you're training a model on that, that's where it's going to end up coming on the other side for the most part. So, you know, and I'm saying this because one time I saw this client, not of ours, but somebody I was helping with something. They exported all their chat conversation from their chat support, which included responses from customers. As you know, you can export chat support wherever you're using. Let's say we use Intercom. We exported like hundreds and hundreds of these, and they took them and imported them into their own model. And then all of a sudden, answers included, you know, nonsensical kind of curse and very harsh responses. So just make sure the data that you're feeding the engine doesn't include data you do not want to come out on the other side, okay? And then finally, you have the potential lack of encryption. And this might be important in some countries versus others, because most of this data might be, you know, it's going to be actually sent via APIs. Nobody's going to be building ChatGPT from scratch, or if you're using Google APIs and so on, right? So data is going to be sent from the chatbot to those augmentation models in between, and then to ChatGPT and back. So with that being said, just make sure the encryption is properly set up so data is not easily accessible by others, and there's no kind of data theft, or limiting the data theft as much as possible. You know, understand what kind of encryption is available. So I'm being a little redundant here, but sometimes it's a matter of having tokens, understanding the other side as well, data retention. So, you know, how far does your augmentation models retain that information? And what is their policy for when data breaches happen and leaks happen as well? Okay, because you will find new smaller models come out this year, and you might adopt some of these models. They might have their own agenda and they might have their own privacy. So keep on the lookout for these as well. Okay. Last but not least, I know sometimes I feel like those slides are about to finish, but absence of data deletion mechanism. And I know you have this in forms and other ways, but you need a way for people engaging with your bot to actually request the deletion of the data through the bot. So that could be a small utility to look for as well, especially if you're big on that. Because with GDPR, CCPA, and all these kind of rules that are coming up every month in different parts of the world, data erasure should be part of your terms of services as well. Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, what we're doing here is we're just taking the traditional ways of collecting information from forms, ability for them to export data, delete their information. If you're replacing these with bots, the bots should be doing the same thing. Okay. All right, so this is in a nutshell the 3 parts that we covered today when it comes to chatbots. We covered the different applications that are already out and how you can use them already to improve and optimize your work. Some of the trends to be on the lookout for, including things like going multi-channel, AI avatars that are embedded in the chatbot, not just on the website, kind of you click play, and a few others, and some of the ethical issues, which are around data privacy, how you can erase data, how much data you collect, and the encryption when data is being transferred between different platforms. So I'll take a few questions here, and then I want to share another update for all before I let you guys go. George, any questions on your side?
No, Richard, all good. Just in the Q&A section.
Cool. So Alex is asking why SMS later? I mean, later it could be just a few weeks after the first release. It's just a matter of prioritizing the roadmap and what's available, but no worries, Alex. It will be following very quickly because we already integrated with Twilio, so that shouldn't be an issue for us. All right, so Omar was asking, can we automate some tasks with the VBOUT chatbot when we launch it? Like the client can receive an email or some knowledge just by clicking yes or no? Possibly, Umaru. Some of these details I'm gonna have to pass on sharing on until I get the final updates by the end of this month, where we're gonna be announcing the first release. But it's gonna have a lot of the basic capabilities, which we're gonna build on top, and it connects with your existing VBOUT suite per se. Okay. Cool. George, anything else on your side?
No, Richard, all good.
Cool. All right. So one final release here, and I know if you are using VBOUT, this is going to be part of the suite, and it's going to be available as an add-on, optional. Maybe you guys don't want it. And we haven't figured out pricing on that yet. But if you tune in to our partners meeting for the release or latest releases, we'll be announcing at the end of this month. Chances are, if we're launching this as a soft launch, we're going to give away this add-on for no cost to you. So attend those partner meeting for sure. If you're not part of VBOUT, we're probably going to be launching this as well as an independent product on its own, just to create chatbots, because VBOUT is huge, right? We have 14 different products and AI is only one of them. But if you are just kind of exploring the AI bot world, it's going to be launched under Open Build AI. If you follow this link and you opt in to the chat, to the early access, we'll notify you as soon as this is released. And we'd love to have you as an early adopter for feedback. So with that being said, if you are in the VBOUT family, already using the product to extend all your 14 kind of different tools usage, don't worry, you're covered there. But if you're not using VBOUT and you want to use this independently as its own tool, as an AI chatbot builder, we're going to have it under openbuild.ai. So that's it. I think I answered all the questions on my side, George. Do you have any others?
No, Richard, all good.
Cool. I have a lot of awesome kind of links and resources here in the chat. So I'm going to follow up with many of them. Thank you, Tony, for sharing. I am in South Carolina, Pierce. I like South Carolina. It's pretty nice, weather-wise and all. All right.
Richard Kisa is asking, did you say it will have voice capabilities?
Not initially in VBOUT, but we already experimented with identifying your own voice and text-to-speech with your own voice. We worked on some of these libraries, but now with the initial release, no. We have a lot of roadmap for this bot, and we have a special unit just working on that. So stay on the lookout, okay? Awesome. Well, thank you, Angie. Thank you, Chaplin, Alex, Piers, Leland, Tony, BW, and everybody else who joined. There are about 44 of you now. I really appreciate you tuning into these sessions. It means a lot to me and to my team that you are kind of interested in the content that we're pushing and you're improving your marketing. And we promise you to keep bringing you the best and the latest when it comes to marketing, and especially AI and marketing. So with that being said, I want to thank you, George, for helping me put the content together. And again, thanks everyone for attending. All the content will be shared with you via email, as well as will be available on our Facebook group. And join our partner meeting if you're using VBOUT. We're going to be announcing some cool stuff at the end of this month. All right. So again, thank you, everybody. And I'll see you on the upcoming meeting. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. Also, I would like to thank those who joined us on Facebook, Rajesh, Eric, both Eric and Jeannie.
Awesome. Robert, we already integrated with Pavli. That should be already integrated. Final impromptu question. Cool. All right, George, I'm gonna disconnect. And yeah, thanks everybody again for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.